All right, welcome back. Today we're going to try a crawdad pattern. A friend of mine is going up to a local creek here that's full of crawdads, and I made him some crawdad stick with him, crawdad pattern stick with him. So we'll see how they do, but I know I've used these before in lots of other creeks and done very well. So let's show you what we're doing. I'm going to start with a size 8 3XL nymph hook. So it's a double extra heavy wire, 3X long shank, size 8. I'm going to be using Semperfly 12-aught in the copper nano silk. We'll also be using some centipede legs. So these are barred speckled brown, small speckled brown centipede legs. And we'll be using some Swiss straw in copper. So some Swiss straw. I also put a couple of black mono eyes on here. So these are the little mono nymph eyes. You can make your own eyes out of monofilament, and I've done that for a lot of my crab and shrimp patterns that I do for saltwater. I'm being lazy tonight and just using the store-bought ones. And we're going to use some pine squirrel. So this is some pine squirrel, the whole skin. Zonkers is an orange. So I got a whole skin of crawdad orange zonkers. Some ice dub. I'm going to use the ice dub mainly in the rusty brown and in the golden brown. So we'll be using that for the underbody. Some copper wire. This is medium copper wire. So use that for the ribbing. And we'll also need a little bit of brown hackle. So this is an old neck that I've had for, God, how many years I've had this old neck, but you can tell how old it is because it's a Hoffman neck. This is what it was before they became whiting. So, whiting hackles before then, they were Hoffman. Anyway, so let's get started. I'll go ahead and put my thread on the hook here. You can do this weighted or unweighted. I'm going to do it unweighted for this one for shallow water. If you're fishing deeper water and you want to really get down to the bottom, you can put some weight on it. But if you're fishing kind of the shallow flats and you want to have a little bit less movement on it, you want to move the fly without having it dragging the bottom, do it unweighted. So first thing I'm going to add is our rubber leg for the antenna. And we put that on here. Double it over, tie it on. Give me a couple of antennas sticking out the back here. Then we're going to put on our Swiss straw. This is going to be the case that goes over the back. And put that on now. So I can put my eyes and my claws inside of this. So I'll wrap around them. Right down to where I tied in the antenna there. I'll leave that there. Now for the claws, I'm going to take this pine squirrel strip we got here, and I'm going to cut about 1.5 inches or so of this. Give me 2.5 inch strips, so I can both the same length here. So I'll take 2 strips of the pine squirrel here, and this will be our claws. And so one thing I'm going to do here with the claws is I'm going to strip off the bottom section, the arms, and just leave the fur for the claw. So start here with the bottom as the fur is going away from you like this, and just start stripping off the fur along the bottom, and just leave yourself the claw at the end. So basically you're stripping off about half of the fur away and leave yourself just the claw at the end. You want to do that twice, one for each claw. So take your pine squirrel zonker and strip off about 3/4 inch or so of that fur and leave yourself just the claw here. All right. Now we're going to take that and we're going to tie this in, one on each side going out the back. And how long I like the claws. I like my claws to be a little bit longer because they give a lot of movement in the water when you're doing this. So go ahead and tie this on one side of the hook, on the far side here, the camera side. Leave that claw sticking out there like that. And put the other one on the near side, about the same length. You can always adjust the length later on, but you have to be able to just kind of make them the same length on both sides. Go ahead and wrap those down. There we go. And I'll put my eyeballs on. And again, you can do your own eyeballs if you want to do with monofilament and burn the ends and color it. Do that saltwater patterns. This one I'm just going to use these pre-made nymph eyes. Very convenient. Just tie those in right here on top. You can also do this fly inverted, so the hook rides up. You don't get as many snags that way. You have to add a little bit of weight to it that way, so it'll ride inverted that way. You can do a dumbbell eyes in the bottom if you want to do it that way. And I'm going to put my ribbing on just behind the eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and tie this on behind the eyes here. The copper rib up behind the eyes. And the same with my hackle. So just use one here that I had left over from my last fly. Strip off the base. Put that right there where the ribbing is as well. Well, sometimes easier to do this kind of midway through the dubbing step, but let's work around that. This one, that rusty brown ice dub. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the thread. We're going to need a lot of this. I'm going to build up that thorax of this crawdad to be fairly fat. So we're going to do several layers of this ice dub and build up that thorax. Really good. In front of the eyes and behind the eyes both. There we go. Go ahead and wind this around. Build up that thorax here. In between the eyes, figure eight around that. I should have done this before I tied on the ribbing on that, but a little more of this rusty brown dubbing here. And we're going to wind that back just a little bit more here, not a whole lot more. Thorax does taper a little bit, but you have to kind of work your way into. Now what I'm going to do is the hackle. So we're going to put the hackle on, just a few turns, open space hackle. Simulate the legs here. And tie that off. Now we're going to put the abdomen on here with some of this golden brown. I like the abdomen to be lighter in color than the thorax. At least the underbelly. Your Swiss straw is going to be the shell over the back. And so that will give you your color of the back of the crawdad, but the underbelly one a bit lighter in color. Go ahead and wind this up and taper it back to the tail. This will taper basically down to nothing at the tail, so don't need a whole lot more of this. There you go. It's got a nice little taper to the tail there. Now we're going to go ahead and pull this shell case back. And notice when I'm doing this, I will pinch it together at the tail like that, so that it all comes together at a point while I'm tying it off. A couple of wraps there. Now I'm going to take this copper wire and give me the segmentation of the shell. And we will tie that off. I'll cut that wire off here and whip finish. And we will cut that off. Now the tail, pull that out and give it just about the abdomen's length, a little bit less of the tail. And fan that out. There's a little fan tail. Sometimes I will split that Swiss straw so you get a segmented tail like that. Many of them are segmented. And that is your finished crawdad. Hope you enjoyed that. Happy tying.